Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Richard MetalFan Interviews, episode 148. And yesterday I got to talk with Stacey Savage at Bog Social and Supply in Atlanta, Georgia. If you aren't familiar with Savage Master, they're a heavy metal band based out of Louisville, Kentucky. I talked to her yesterday about getting into metal, pretty much the history of the band. A little disclaimer, this interview is a little bit shorter. It's probably about less than 10 minutes, mostly because she just wanted it to be short to the point. I'm like, all right. So I'm just letting you know as a little disclaimer, because I know there's going to be people that are commenting, ooh, this is Russian force, but hey, I got to take what I can get, but she is awesome. So without further ado, enjoy this interview I did with Stacey.
Hey, what's up, guys? Episode 148 of Richard MetalFan Interviews, here outside Bog Social and Supply in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm here chatting with Stacey Savage from Savage Master. How are you doing today, Stacey?
Good, how are you doing?
Doing good. It's hot as hell outside.
Yeah.
Hey, but it's called Hotlanta, that's for sure.
Right.
So I know we're on the last day of this awesome tour right now with Cross Hearts and a bunch of other bands. So the typical interview question I always got to ask, how's the tour been going?
Oh, it's been great. We're sad to see it end, but we've had good times all along.
Awesome. So kind of what the format I want to do is I want to talk about like your musical history and do like a quick rundown of your discography. But before we go into that, take me to young Stacey Savage. So growing up, what were like the first bands that got you into metal and what made you want to be a vocalist?
There were a lot of bands. So like it kind of started with classic rock for me growing up. I liked like Led Zeppelin and Heart and stuff. But then when I was in high school, I got into some metal bands like Dimmu Borgir and stuff like that. So eventually I think bridged the gap and like settle with like heavy metal is kind of my favorite stuff now.
Awesome. And were you in any bands before starting up Savage Master? Was
No.
Savage Master your first band?
Yes, it was my
so
first band.
How'd you get to know the guys? Because I know you all formed in 2013.
Yes, well, I met Adam and then he recruited the other guys. So that's how I met him.
Yeah, but you gotta know, 10 years of Savage Master. Do you think that you all be around for 10 years?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then going into 2014 with the first album, Mask of the Devil, I think it's a really great debut album. And I believe your first record was High Roller Records. So how did they find Savage Master?
Our first record, the vinyl was on High Roller. The CD was on Skull Records. So Bart Gabriel owns Skull Records, and he managed us, and so he has a connection with them to do the vinyls.
Yeah, and I know next year is going to be the 10-year anniversary of the debut. Is there any
Yes.
plans of celebration? Maybe do a tour you played start to finish?
Well, we're right now we have a pre-order up for the re-release of Mask of the Devil, and I don't know, maybe we will do something like that. We haven't quite settled on an idea yet.
Yeah, and so what was like the thought process making Mask of the Devil? Well, what was sort of like the recording process? Where was it recorded at?
It was recorded at Wax and Tape Studios in Louisville, Kentucky. A lot of the concept came from Mario Bava's Black Sunday.
All right. And then your next album with Whips and Chains, because usually with the debut you have like your entire life to write it, and there was a lot of hype with the first album. When it came to making with Whips and Chains, did you feel like pressure to follow up Mask of the Devil?
Yeah, of course we wanted to, keep a certain quality and explore further. So there's definitely, more pressure once you have something to work from.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a bit different than Mask of the Devil. It's a lot slower, and I especially love like the leads on Sons of Satan and Crown is Sick, and it's really just like I know musically when I first heard Savage Master, it's just I get that whole raw production sounding like something from the 80s, like Judas Priest. And I noticed with this album, it's a little bit more melodic than Mask of the Devil. Was that sort of like the idea that you wanted to come when it came to making that album?
Yeah, something like that. Just kind of expanding and adding kind of more variety in there. Lots of different pacing for different songs.
Then 2017 you did the Creature of the Flame EP. But usually with AP, I know I can make a video game reference, like a side quest. Was that something to hold fans over before you made Myth, Magic, and Steel?
Yes, yeah. And we had those ideas, and then Creature of the Flames is, we love that song, and it's a really long one, but so it worked perfectly for that, and just to give the fans something to keep them going until we could release the next album.
Yeah, and then Myth, Magic, and Steel, which is pretty much the album that got me into Savage Master. I remember first time I saw you all was 2019. You did that tour with Vital Remains. So what was that whole album cycle like for that album?
We kind of were trying to keep up the pace of releasing the album every year and a half to 2 years. So, it was kind of, more like that, just to keep going.
And I know you had like on the Lady of Steel, you had a guest feature, Deborah Levine. Fine. How did you work up with her on that?
We had Deborah Levine from Lady Beast sing a verse, and we also had Sandy Kruger from Sacred Few sing a verse. We just kind of met them through the scene, through touring and playing shows.
All right. And does like working with like other artists like try to like make you bring out like new ideas for you, like vocally or lyrically?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, you always get inspiration from it. Like even just like every show you play, everywhere you go, something you see somebody do or hear, or it just all affects you, and whether you even notice the effect like outright or not. I mean, we all kind of shape each other.
All right. And then your latest album, Those Who Hunt at Night, it's been out for a year now, and it's fucking awesome. So
Thank
what was
you.
the whole recording process of that?
We recorded Hunt at Night in it went pretty smoothly. It was pretty good, and we had a good time with it. We had some more input from like more members. Mostly Adam primarily did the writing for all the other albums up to that point, but we had some, like Hunt at Night, the riff was written by John Littlejohn, our drummer. So we just had kind of a more like everybody kind of had more hands on in that, other than just Adam writing everything.
And did you wanted to try something new than what you did on Myth, Magic, and Steel?
Yeah, we kind of wanted just to expand further into the direction we were going. So kind of yes and no, like it's kind of the same, but like just a little further into that realm.
Yeah, and I know it sounds very raw and very natural. Well, does that sort of like a decision with amongst the band to have that kind of raw sounding, or like budgetary reasons?
We just like to sound, like we like rock and roll. We want to sound like a rock and roll band. That's what moves us. So that's what drives us forward.
Yeah. And one thing to talk about is like the lyrics are just really powerful. What inspires you to like write lyrics?
Literally everything in life. From other stuff I listen to movies to like just daily experiences. You're always looking for something.
I think when it comes to writing lyrics, do you have to like put yourself in like a certain mind frame, or does it like come from like personal experience?
It's kind of both. It just depends. Like if you're in a need for material, then you're gonna have to sit down and really work on it. But other times you kind of just want to be just receptive all the time and let ideas come naturally as they do.
All right. And kind of wanted to go into your live show, because listening to you live is totally different than it is on CD. So do you ever have to like practice like crowd interaction in a way?
I think it just comes naturally because we feed off, the energy of the crowd. We're there for people to have a good time. We want to have a good time, and so that just kind of plays off of each other in the moment as it happens.
Yeah, and I remember the first time I saw you, I feel like you almost kind of like have like different characters. I know with the rest of the guys wearing the masks and stuff, and you sort of like being like the priestess. Do you try to almost like portray a character? Is that almost kind of like an extension of like who you are and everybody else?
I would say so, yeah. And it was just kind of a fun idea. Like I say, it kind of goes back to that Mario Bava Black Sunday movie where we got the original idea for the look and the first album title and things like that. So yeah, we kind of just keep trying to expand on that world.
Yeah, and I remember seeing like a comment in one of your videos. Somebody called you like BDSM metal.
Oh yeah.
Metal. I just think it's hilarious. Or I'd just be like, gonna tell my kids this is Slipknot. Yeah, but since it's been a year now since the new album, have you all started like ideas for the next album?
Yeah, we're kind of in the beginning stages of writing for the next album. We just got one more tour in about a week, and then we will be off for a while and have some time to work on writing.
Awesome. So before we go, I just want to thank you for this interview.
Thank you very much. I
appreciate
appreciate it.
Anything else with Savage Mastered you'd like to plug?
I just want to thank you for having me, and I hope everybody comes out and enjoys the show tonight.
Awesome. So everybody, Stacey Savage from Savage Master. See you next time.